Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. This is a series of spotlights on remarkable exit planning advisors from across the country. And joining me on this segment is Joe Farach, the founder of Revenue Igniter. Joe, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Joe, tell us a little bit about your work and tell us specifically who are the types of clients that you specialize in helping.
Well, I work with small and medium-sized businesses. And in general, lots of times a business owner has a great idea. They're really good at something and they'll go and start a company. And they spend a lot of time working on it to grow their business. And sometimes they forget to do the things that will increase the value, the internal value of the company, because they're busy, making money on it. So I work with clients to help them understand what it takes to make their businesses more valuable. And so when they come to the point, whenever that is, that they're going to exit their business, whether they're going to sell it or transfer it to a family member, it is in the best position possible to be attractive to a potential buyer, or that it's in a best situation so that the following generation can lead the business into the future.
You made a great point, Joe, about how business owners are great, passionate about what they do. They're thinking growth, growth, growth. But when it comes time to perhaps exiting the business, they don't really give it much thought, do they? What are sort of the things that they don't know that they don't even know that could sabotage them from properly exiting? Could you tell us a little bit?
Right. Well, one thing is a lot of people think that when they go to exit their business, they can look at it a few months before. And that's not the case. They need to be looking at it 3 to 5 years. It takes, if you haven't done the work, if you haven't prepared, it takes 3 to 5 years to get there. And, some of the steps are you need to understand what are the goals of the business. Number 2, you need to know what your personal goals are. A lot of people leave their business and don't know what to do after that. And very important is you need to understand the financial aspects, because a lot of people are working on their business and they have a lot of value tied up in their business. So when they go to retire, they need to understand how much it is they need and whether that business will make up the difference that they need there. So there are things important when you're looking at selling your businesses. I think number 1 is how dependent is that business on you? If the business is dependent on you, then it has a lesser chance of selling. And if it does sell, then it'll attract a lower price. The other thing is, what does your customer base look like? Do you have a high concentration of business in 1 or 2 or a handful of customers? If that's the case, again, it could either scare away a potential buyer, or it'll bring in lower value. And then I think a very important case is your team. Someone that buys your business, they're buying it not to keep it where it is, but to scale the business. And a lot of that depends on the talent and the capabilities of the team you have in place. And are they prepared to take the business into the future and to scale the business with a new buyer?
As you mentioned, there's a lot of moving parts here. Can you kind of shed some light on the role that the exit planning advisor plays in the whole equation? How do you come in and help them with those things, if you can give us an overview?
Right. What probably the key thing that an exit advisor does is educate the business owner. Most business owners, this is their first business, and so they haven't been through an exit or a transition. So they don't know. They've spent their time building their business. So the first part is understanding what the process looks like. And part of that is identifying the different needs. So going through it, what we do is we do evaluation on the business. So the business owner understands what that business might be worth today. And that'll give them an idea of, is it close to what they need? During that evaluation, we also identify the gaps that they have in the business that might be lowering the value of that business. So that points them to where they, what they need to do to grow that business. So number 1 is, understanding what you have today and understanding the business, the person. What does the person want? Where are they going to go after this? uh, what conditions they may have when they're selling the business. Is it most important for them to keep their legacy, the legacy of the business? Is what they want the most money for the business they can get? Is what they want to make sure that their employees have key positions, when the business transfers. So each business owner has different priorities, and we need to understand what's on their mind so that we do the right thing for them. And from then on, knowing the valuation, knowing what it is they want and what they're going to do with their lives, we start putting a plan in place to get the business to where it needs to be. And then the key part, which a lot of people miss, is you have to execute on that plan. And that execution has to be relentless. It has to, be very directed. There has to be accountability, and it just has to keep moving. And that's what takes the business to the point where it maximizes its value and attractability to potential buyers.
Great insight. Joe, what inspired you to get into this field and help business owners with their exit planning? How did you get started?
Yeah, I spent most of my career in the corporate world. I really like the international part, so I chose positions where I can go overseas and do things and run subsidiaries and all that. And during that process, I was involved in some acquisitions, and I really liked that process. I liked the integration part, the operational part, and then I ran some mergers and acquisitions on there. And what I started seeing in that process is that there's a lot of opportunity out there for businesses, and a lot of them don't know, what it takes to, put them in that position. And so when I looked at myself, I asked, what do I like to do? I like being involved in things that are new. So every time I work with a new business owner, it's a new experience for me. I'm learning, making a new friend, learning a new personality and the needs of that person. And then I apply the skills that I have learned related to business, trying to figure out what it will take to help that person get to where they want to go. So it allows me to use the skills I have, and I get to do what I like to do, is learn something new and have a challenge.
Before I ask you my last question, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel's really important to share with business owners who are considering exiting their business now or in the near future?
Yeah, there's a couple of statistics I want to put out there of, small, medium-sized businesses that go on the market to sell. Only about 17% actually transact. So most of the business, 4 out of 5 do not sell. It leaves the owner with this asset on their hands. And of those that do sell, only about 7% actually get the price that the business owner wanted or was expecting for the business. And so now you have to ask why that is. And the difference on those that do sell and get the price they want is that they were prepared. They went through the process. It took them several years to get there. They had to put time into it, but they come out winning. And those that do not go through the process, then it's up for grabs. They may come out fortunate, they may not. So to ensure that you control when and how you exit, it's best to prepare. And that's what exit strategy and exit planning does for you.
For business owners listening now that realize they need to get this in order and would like to speak with you, how can they find you and connect?
Okay, a couple of things. My website is revenue-igniter.com. Again, that's revenue-igniter.com. And my email is Joe, J-O-E, at revenue-igniter.com. That's Joe at revenue-igniter.com.
Joe, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you, Mark. I do appreciate it.
That was Joe Farach, founder of Revenue Igniter. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial. And thanks for joining me.